Right, the Constitutional Court has ruled that the signature requirement for independent candidates will no longer be between 10 and 14,000. It's now been reduced to just 1,000. Now, the court, however, dismissed attempts to have the seat calculation method deemed invalid. To unpack all the happenings over the Electoral Act, we're joined now by Transformation Alliance leader Abel Tau. A very good morning to you. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika, and thank you for your time. It's been described as a historic moment, met with a first-of-its-kind signature requirement. I suppose this now settles the question of fair participation for independent candidates.
Absolutely. Good morning, Mpho, and good morning to viewers at home. I think, yes, you have absolutely put it correctly to say this is a historic moment. I think it was unfortunate that parliamentarians had sought to look for ways to create barriers, artificial barriers that were going to stifle the kind of conversations that need to be had in Parliament by ensuring that they broaden the space with which people should, even before they go out to be voted for by their communities as well as the regions that they come from. And we think that once again, it is victory for South Africa, it's victory for our democracy. But the Constitutional Court again demonstrates that the judiciary still stands firm. And there's so much that we can definitely as a country celebrate as we rebuild our country and make sure that we get it back to basics.
You speak about barriers, and we know that Justice Jody Collopin did caution that the gains made in the Electoral Amendment Act would be hollow if Parliament put up those barriers. What would the areas of concern be should that move be met? Should Parliament indeed put up the barriers?
Look, first and foremost, I think it would be very unconstitutional. I think our constitution is very clear that any South African who is eligible to vote is also eligible to stand and be voted for. And I think it is that spirit of that democratic dispensation that we are in that would definitely be taken away, because you are now going to have a situation where it is almost impossible for independent candidates as well as new parties entrants into the space. And it is unfortunate because as a country with the past that we have, but also as a developmental state, it becomes very, very important that we find ourselves in a space where we continually question and recheck where we stand as a country and where the direction we are going. And I think that the powers that be, especially the parties that are represented in Parliament, realize that more and more South Africans are moving away from being attached to individuals as well as parties in that manner that they were, and they start to question the direction the country is taking. And for them, it would be unfortunate, because this is what you want in a democracy. You want active citizenry that will ensure that the direction that their country is taking is actually their decisions, and it is not that of a number of people who sit somewhere and make decisions for the rest of us.
It's also been argued that while the ruling reduces the requirement for independent candidates, it doesn't amend the requirements for parties not yet represented in the National Assembly or any provincial legislature. What's your take on that space?
Look, it is. I think it is a start. I think it should have definitely gone that far. But I think more than anything, it demonstrates that, look, we want a vibrant democracy. I think more than anything, we need to also, as new parties that would be vying to go to the National Assembly and the legislature, demonstrate that there is support. Because one of the things that you don't want is to create a situation where people are fatigued of political parties and of politics, where they don't know who to listen to anymore. So therefore, it just gets us into a space where the voice is much louder, and other voices that really are not, resonating with the populace would then be able to fall into line with others that are there. But over and above everything, I do genuinely believe that the country is moving in the right direction, and parties that are new are given an opportunity now to demonstrate what they can bring to the table.
Yeah, and with that opportunity, I suppose the real work now begins to collect signatures, mobilize communities behind your candidates for Parliament.
Absolutely. I think we'd already started with the work, and it's progressing well. We are quite content with the amount of work we have put in so far. But I do think that and hope that our counterparts in the different spaces will do likewise, because it would be very interesting to see a very different parliament than the one we have seen over the years. We have seen that a little change in that house brings a lot of change in the country. A lot has been achieved by the entry of new political players in that space. And this is what we are hoping for as a country. As much as most South Africans are saying this is our 1994, I actually believe this is Judgment Day. This is the time when South Africa needs to stand up and be counted. And we are one of those who are saying, let us go out there and make sure that we make it count for our country so that future generations are going to look at us with a broad smile to say, you did not let things fall flat when you had an opportunity to change it.
Yeah, you speak about new political players. When do you think will be a good time to now measure and assess the impact of the new kids on the block?
Look, I think we have been seeing them. Obviously, the election itself is going to be a yardstick and a litmus test for most of us as new players in the space. But I do think that more than just the election itself, I think as we progress towards the time of the cutoff of the registrations, when these signatures would now then come in to be tested as to whether we managed to collect these signatures and obviously meet the requirements that are required of us by the IEC. But over and above that, I think we need to be present in communities. I think this is the time, looking at the stuff that we have called the country out on, the water situation in Guyana, we've seen government starting to move in that direction. We've highlighted the issue of crime, organized crime in the country, and all of these issues that we, as new political players in the space, are able to address and pick up on communities become very important. And this is the time that really from now until elections, we need to be seen to be working for communities, because clearly there is a void. The bigger political parties and those that have always been there are not interested in assisting people, especially communities that are far-flung. And this is the time where we need to fill that void and ensure that we don't only fill it now, but we are going to fill it after elections in Parliament.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Let's perhaps leave it there for now.